My friend Samson came over for dinner for my last night in London, Great Britain, before I set off on the Eurostar to go back to the south of France. I have to say, the Eurostar is interesting these days. The only papers they have in the first class lounge now are the Times and the Financial Times, plus the New York Times and various French papers. They don't touch any of the tabloids anymore. Exactly the same as all round the world, you can hardly find a printed copy of a tabloid British newspaper, which may be a very good thing. Days gone by, I used to drive off on the ferries and drive across to Europe. Then it became the hovercraft, which is a wonderful, fast way of getting across. And now, of course, it's the Eurotunnel. And often I'd bring my car down to the south of France or Morocco or Italy or wherever and leave it there for a few weeks in the middle of my summer. I either fly back or come back on the train, which is quite comfortable, and then go back and collect the car and continue with leg 2 and sometimes leg 3 of my summer break. It's an enjoyable way of doing it. I have to say the food on the Eurostar for breakfast is a little bit better than the meal coming out of France. It was still rather strange, didn't look very pretty, but actually reasonably tasty. Bacon and roasty potatoes and coffee and fresh bread and all the rest of these things. The meal on the train was not that important because I was looking forward to lunch in my favourite railway station restaurant in the world, Le Train Bleu at the Gare de Lyon in Paris. All around the walls are murals of all the places that the trains used to visit when the place was built over 125 years ago, and it's absolutely gorgeously ornate. I have to say, it is an absolute treat. If you've never visited the Train Bleu at the Gare de Lyon, it's one of those things that just you have to do. All the places are the various towns and cities that the trains used to arrive in back then. Monaco, and you've got all the places near where I stay, Antibes and so on and so forth. And it really is very beautiful. It's actually also a very good restaurant. The food is delicious. I always have the same thing, and I've had it for years and years and years. Foie gras to start with, and followed by a leg of roast lamb, which is carved at the table and served with roast garlic cloves, which I have to say is always very tasty, with pomme dauphinoise, the potatoes in cream and cheese and everything else, which is also absolutely delicious, and follow it up with a nice dessert, usually involving some kind of sugar, honey, cream, and not very good for the heart, but after all, every now and again, why not? Whether you like Donald Trump or not, and I can't stand the guy, you have to be amused by the way he works. I love this new 125 billion lawsuit against Murdoch and the newspapers, who dared say that he'd written a lewd birthday card to Jeffrey Epstein. Who cares about Jeffrey Epstein? Who cares about lewd birthday cards? It does detract from all the other things. What Trump ought to be doing, and I think Starmer should be doing it too, is invading Gaza, throwing the Israelis out, getting the remaining hostages released, helping the people of Gaza reconstruct. Yes, I know it's not that simple, but we moved in and fought the Germans when they were destroying all the Jews, gays and gypsies. Why can't we do the same for ghastly Netanyahu? I leave the Train Bleu and go and sit in the main station where my train to Nice is about to leave in a few minutes. Wherever you go in the world, you'll notice there is Coca-Cola, McDonald's and Starbucks. The train from Paris down to the south of France is fabulous, especially from Marseille all the way through to Nice. It really is gorgeous to look at. You see all the colours of the mountains and the sun on the sea, the Mediterranean, the blue sky. It's absolutely fantastic every time I travel, and I've done so for 65 years now. This train journey is my favourite in all of the world. So you get to the south of France, where I'm sitting in a cafe in Antibes, watching how, interestingly, drivers, men, wear no clothes at all, whereas all the women are wearing the most enormous amount of clothing. I can never quite work that out, but for some unknown reason, males seem to sweat and need to not sweat, whereas women don't even perspire as they wear their heavy clothes. So, when I left Little Car about a month, 6 weeks ago in the south of France, which I tend to do every summer, either once or twice each summer, I leave the car, come back on the train, because I hate flying these days, airports are such shit, come back on the lovely train, Eurostar, back to London, then back out again, collect it, and continue with the second or third leg of the Grand Tour. This time, just before I left it, I noticed that two things were happening. My brake pressure light was coming on, which comes on with a beep, meep. Might even do it now. You hear it? Beep. And the other thing is that when I pressed the brakes, it took a second or two for the brake to really work. I found this quite upsetting. You don't really want to be driving a Rolls Royce when the brakes don't work. Anyway, my contact in England, my London Rolls people, told me it's basically one of the two brake systems is too low and needs topping up, so that should be easy to do. And when I got back here, I went to my garage in the south of France. I have garages now, pet garages, over all the years in the south of France, Italy, Germany, Spain, and even Morocco, in Marrakesh and Rabat. The one in Rabat is fantastic, looks after all the King's Rolls Royces. Those are the only Rolls Royces in Morocco, I think. Anyway, for that reason, when I got back, I went straight to my man in the garage here in the south of France, and he said, Ryan, book it in, be no problem. However, mechanics all over the world love Little Car. What they feel about me, I have no idea. I said, however, brakes mended, no problem with that. I can drive what I like, but I'm driving along out of the garage and suddenly there's a bang. It sounds all like a snap. I thought it might be one of the fan belts had gone, because then as it went on, it sounded as though it was wrapping around something. Bang, bang, bang. Anyway, took me forever. I finally managed to get to a garage who were very helpful. I'm now 80. I'm not very good at taking the wheels and the tyres off cars anymore. Luckily, again, old friends who I actually was with the car 4 years ago, and they took photographs of themselves with the car and said to me, oh, welcome back. Anyway, they sorted out, no problem. The problem is Rolls Royces have these hubcaps which are very special and silver and have the RR emblem on and all the rest. Well, taking one of those off for an ordinary person who's not a Rolls Royce expert takes about 20 minutes before they even get to the wheel to change it. Anyway, they did do it. When they got the tyre off, the entire tyre inside had been ripped off and wrapped itself round the spindle that the wheel goes. So much so that all the steel wires were poking out, and the guy said, do be careful because you could prick your fingers on that. It was absolutely wrecked. Can you believe it? I'm sure you can believe it. The adventures of a fat old queen who's now 80, and she drives around Europe in her car for about 10,000 kilometres and is bound to have all sorts of accidents. So anyway, I'm back in the south of France, eating my meals in Cannes and Nice and Antibes and Juan-les-Pins, watching the people walking down the Croisette as they enjoy the strolling in the sunshine, and generally being fairly relaxed, although of course still a little bit worried about Little Car. Is everything okay with Little Car? we shall have to see.
This is sort of my home from home. I've been staying here now in the summer for about 15 or 20 years, and I love it.
Have you bought your copy of Animal Farm the Next Chapter from Amazon yet? If not, please do, and I'll be back with a Victim Bites Back shortly.